A couple of years ago, while riding Rome's metro, my wife's purse was picked and her wallet was stolen. She was wearing this exact backpack. What's very interesting is these zippers on the exterior, here, further away from the body, seem like an easier, target for the pickpockets to pick. So she stuck her purse right in this zipper that's right along the back of her back here. It runs real close to her body. But what's very interesting is the pickpockets know where you're likely going to put your valuables. You're going to put them closest to your body. They didn't even bother unzipping these two zippers. When she got to the train station where we found out that the purse was missing, the only zipper that was unzipped was this one along her back. They had reached in and grabbed her wallet. In her wallet, she had her passport. She had all of our credit cards. She had a bunch of money. And unfortunately, it was a real mess. And more recently, about 3 weeks ago, I was a victim of a pickpocket. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. And there's a growing trend, something much worse than a pickpocket, in my opinion. Not as likely to happen to you, but you want to stay tuned because if it does happen to you, it's devastating. Lots to talk about. Let's get started. Recently, I was in Rome, and yes, I was pickpocketed. Here's how it happened. We were coming home late in the evening. It was a Friday evening. We had taken a day trip to Spoleto. We got to Termini Station, needed to take the train, or not the train, the bus from the Termini Station to Trastevere. There's a H bus. And in the evening, this bus was particularly crowded because everybody's heading to Trastevere for dinner. Before the bus left the station, we were standing room only. In fact, when we got onto the bus, I was on the very back of the bus near the back door, and there was standing room only. People were all around me. It was pretty dang crowded. And when we first left there, I thought there's no way we can get more people in this bus. It felt that crowded, but we did. We went around to the first stop, and the doors opened up and more people jammed into the bus. And at that point I was thinking, there's no way we can get more people. We were squished. And here's what I did. Sometimes what I do, I get lazy and I still have my wallet. I should put it in my bag, and then, my bag's got some safe spots in it. It wouldn't be stolen. But anyway, I keep my wallet in my front pocket sometimes, and I put my hand over my wallet and I hold on to the rail like this. And that usually works just fine. When it's super crowded, however, this time what happened, I was getting pushed so much, I started to lose my footing, so I took my hand out of my pocket, and then I found myself holding on with both hands. And at this stop, the doors kept opening and shutting because the people, it couldn't shut because there were so many people. There were people hanging out of the bus. And right as I'm holding on to these rails, I'm thinking to myself, I better check my wallet. I reached down and my wallet was gone. And trust me, that's not a good feeling. I thought, oh crap, can't believe it. I turned around to the guy that was pushing me. I said, hey, you stole my wallet. Now, he didn't like me accusing him. He said, you're crazy, I didn't take your wallet. And by then, everybody's kind of looking at us. He stepped off the bus. And as he stepped off the bus, he points to the ground, or that I'm standing on the floor of the bus, and says, your wallet's right there on the floor. Luckily, it was there. I was certain everything was gone, so I reached down, I picked it up, I stuck it in my pocket. I wasn't in a position to go through it at that point because, again, we're really crowded with people. I was just, anxious to get off the bus. I was certain everything was gone, but luckily when I got off the bus, I opened up my wallet. I had my credit card. I had my cash. Everything was there. Nothing was taken. I got super, super lucky. At times, getting on an overcrowded bus or an overcrowded metro car, it's just unavoidable. Waiting for a less crowded bus or metro, you'll be there all day. And what I should have done, knowing that I was going to be getting onto a crowded bus, which I knew, I had this bag with me, and on this bag I have a pocket there that runs across my back. I could have easily taken my wallet out of my pants, stuck it in this back zipper here, put my bag on front like this, and that way when I'm on the bus, I'd be holding on to a railing. If I had to hold on with both hands, well, nobody's going to be able to go back here and unzip this without me knowing. That's what I should have done. Unfortunately, I didn't do that, but fortunately, I was able to recover that wallet without any problems. There are really three ways most of the pickpockets take place in Rome. The first I call the wandering hand. The way they do this is they typically have a jacket, maybe a shopping bag or a scarf covering their arm like this, and they'll be on the metro or on a bus or even in a square. And if you see somebody where you can't see their hands, be very suspicious of them. This happens way too often. Once they get into the bus, and they know the buses to be on that are crowded, then they're wall-to-wall people, whether it's a bus or a metro, and all of a sudden their hands start wandering into your purse and into your pockets. This actually happened to me on the metro car. It was a middle-aged man. He had a jacket over his hand just like this. When I got on, I saw that jacket, and first thing I thought is, this guy looks pretty suspicious. And sure enough, within 2 or 3 minutes, I felt his hand go into my pocket. I looked down, I moved away from him, and I just wasn't 100% positive, but I just wanted to see what was going on. I stepped away, and then I saw him going through a lady's purse. I said, hey, there's a pickpocket. This guy had no shame. He just stayed on the tram like nothing ever happened, and just, eventually I got off, and I don't know what happened to him, but really nothing. So, yeah. That's how that happens. That's the wandering hand. The other one that happens quite frequently is the bump, where there's no reason for somebody to be in your personal space. You may be in the metro station, maybe you're going through the turnstile, or you're getting tickets at the kiosk or something where there's a lot of people, but no reason somebody should be bumping into you. Sometimes they'll just come in there, bump into you, act like, they're not looking. And when they bump into you, they make their move. They either try to go into your pocket or into your bag and unzip it real quickly. They're pretty quick. They've been doing this for a long time. Some of them have been thieves since kids. So they're pretty good at it. They're not perfect, but just be aware that if somebody's bumping into you, chances are they're up to no good. So the third way is actually probably the most brazen way. It's all about timing. You're trying to get on the metro car, and as they're getting off the metro car, you have a whole flow of people coming in to a tight door, and they're getting off, and they'll just grab into your pocket. This happens quite a bit. They grab into your front pocket or your back pocket, wherever they feel your money's at, where your wallet's at, and they grab it, hoping that they can get on the other side of the doors. The doors will shut, the metro will leave, they'll have your wallet, and you'll be trapped inside there with a lot of people. This happens way too often. In fact, I was on a metro car where this exact thing happened. The gentleman had his family with him. He had another suitcase. He was getting on. He was a little bit distracted. It was a lady, reached into his front pocket, grabbed his wallet. He luckily felt it right away. He said it was pretty forceful. They weren't trying to hide anything, but he had the instincts to reach real quick, grab his wallet right out of her hand as she was exiting the car. And he had his wallet, he was safe. She just gave a funny look and went on her way, where we pulled off, and I talked to him briefly, and he was like, he's sticking his, wallet back into his bag, and, he's happy, but also a little bit shaken up by the experience. So this is something they do. So just be aware of that when you're getting on metro cars. So those are the main three ways most of the pickpockets in Rome take place. Be sure to check out our travel guide. It has interactive maps to some of the best food in Rome, a 70+ page PDF, and hours of helpful video. I'll put a link to it in the description with a discount code where you can pick it all up for right around $20. Now I want to talk to you about purse and bag snatchers. Yes, bags and purses get stolen. The most common way, there are really two ways that these bags or purses are stolen. One of them is when people are dining. You might be dining in an area. It's very popular to have tables on the outside of the restaurant, along a corridor or a street where people are walking. Just don't place your bag or purse within someone's reach that's walking down the street. If a thief walks by, sees an opportunity, a bag sitting there, he may just grab it and make a run for it. You're gonna have a hard time catching them, especially on a crowded street. So don't give them that opportunity. The other thing that also happens is maybe you have your bag just on one shoulder. And I've actually seen this, and it's actually happened to me once quite a while ago. We were walking down via of the Imperial Forum heading towards Coliseum. A young couple dressed very nice with a high-end purse were walking, and a gentleman came up to her, grabbed her purse. She grabbed it back. The purse fell on the ground. He started running really fast and looked back to make sure no one was chasing him. She picked her purse up off the ground, and now she stuck her purse across her neck like this and started holding on to her purse real tight. And, you know, we were all just walking. They were just feet in front of me. Nobody did anything. It happened so quickly that, yeah, sometimes they'll try to grab it off your shoulder. What happened to me, and this was actually quite a while ago, I had a bag. I had it around one shoulder, and some girls were on a scooter. The person in the back of the scooter grabbed my bag because I was on a street kind of near the street, and as the scooter drove past me, they grabbed my bag. Again, I was able to grab back on the handle. They let go, and they did not get my bag. But, you know, they tried. Having your wallet stolen is pretty bad. Having your purse or bag stolen is a lot worse. But having your luggage stolen can be a real bummer. So I don't want that to happen to you. What they do in Rome, or really in anywhere in Italy on the trains, sometimes people do have their bags stolen off the trains. It doesn't happen that often, but every day it does happen to somebody. What they do is there's luggage racks at the doors when you come into the train cars. Most people stick their large bags in these luggage racks, and then they go and sit down. Well, right before takeoff, somebody will come onto the train, take the bag off the train departs, your bag's there, and you're on your way to wherever you're headed. Without your bag, you're going to lose everything that's in that bag. It's super easy to avoid that happening. Here's how you do it. Just don't carry bags that are too heavy. This is actually a pretty large bag, but right above where you're sitting on the train, there are luggage racks right overhead. As long as your bag is not too heavy, it's easy to pick it up and stick it up into the luggage racks, and you can keep an eye on it. If you have a big, huge bag that's heavy, 50 pounds or so, it may be very difficult, and you'll be tempted to leave it at the luggage racks on the way in. I don't recommend you do that. It's so avoidable, so easily avoidable. Just don't carry huge bags, and the bags that you do carry, make sure you can manage them by sticking them in the bins above your head when you're on trains, and that won't happen to you. So while it can be devastating, if it does happen to you, it's easily avoidable by keeping an eye on your bags and keeping them close to you while you're on the trains. One of the greatest inventions, in my opinion, recently are these Airtags. They're great for travel. They're great for home. I carry one on my keys right here. They're GPS trackers. So if I lose my keys in my house or leave them somewhere, I can easily locate my keys. Well, with travel, you can put these in your suitcases when you travel. So when you arrive in Rome, you can check where your bags are at. You can see that they've arrived with you. If for some reason you don't see them, you can see where they're at. Just gives you that peace of mind to be able to track your bags in case of an emergency. You can do that. But more importantly, you can use these to track your personal bags as you tour Rome. I stick one inside of this bag, inside of a small pocket. There's an Airtag. And that way, if I was to leave my bag somewhere, at least I have a chance of recovering it because I have a GPS Airtag in there, and I can, get on my phone, see where it's at, and track the bag. Hopefully this is still in the bag by the time I discover it's missing. But yeah, it gives me at least that opportunity. I can also put these in my wallet. I could put them, one bag for my wife, one for me, and let's say she and I get separated, I could see where she's at, very easily do that. And if I had small kids, this would be great. I don't have any small kids now, they're all grown, but if I did have a small kid, I would put one on them, have it as a necklace, put it in their pocket. Nothing bad is gonna happen to them, but if they get lost in a big crowd, it can be pretty intimidating. It can be a traumatic experience. So having these Airtags can help you locate anything, kids, your bags, your wallet. They come in super handy. I recommend you pick them up. You can pick these up at Costco, like 4 for 80 bucks, 80 euros. You can pick them up on Amazon, wherever. They're pretty common, they're pretty inexpensive, and they're super helpful when traveling. Another thing I would highly recommend you not do is carry your passport with you when you tour any city, not just Rome. There's no need to carry the passport with you. Take a picture of it on your phone, and so you have that in case you need it, but do not tour the city with your passport. Now, on the books of Italy and Rome, there may be some law that says you need to carry your passport with you, and that may be the case, but it's not enforced, at least not all the time, and right now it's not being enforced. I think it's on the books, so if they need to enforce it, they can. I know during COVID, we had to show our passports much more frequently, but now that it's just normal, nobody's going to ask you for your passport, and if they really need your passport, they could escort you to your hotel and get your passport from you, and you'll be fine. The chances of getting your passport stolen from your hotel are much lower than it being pickpocketed from you while you're touring the city. The reason why the passports are such a big deal is because not just does it cost quite a bit, 125 euros to have that replaced, it's 5-6 hours of your time, and if you discover it right before you fly out, it could mean you're going to miss your flight, and then you have to reschedule flights, which could cost you a lot of money. If you're trying to catch a boat to maybe on a cruise, you're going to be delayed a day or two, which is going to definitely ruin you. And so there's so many reasons that you do not want to tour the city of Rome with your passport. I don't want you to think that as soon as you get to Rome, the odds of you being pickpocketed or robbed is really that high. Chances are nothing's going to happen to you. You'll have a great experience while you're in Rome. But if it does happen to you, it can be a real bummer. It can really, taint the whole experience while you're in Rome. So I want to help you avoid that from happening. That's the purpose of this video. It's not to scare you. It's to help you be prepared, know what to expect, know how to avoid that happening to you. So we just want you to have a great time in Rome. In fact, our channel is all about trying to help you have a great time in Rome. So please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Share the video with somebody that may be heading to Rome. You can help them, save them from a lot of headache maybe while they're in Rome by letting them know about this video and helping them avoid pickpockets. Share this video, comment. Love to hear from you. If you've been pickpocketed, especially, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what happened. Not just me, I think everybody would be curious to see or hear your story of being pickpocketed in Rome. To the next one. Alla prossima. Ciao.